Imagine a world with 10 billion people. Sound overcrowded? Well, that's the projection for 2050. But are we truly running out of space? Here's the thing. The concept of overpopulation isn't new. It's a topic that has sparked debates and discussions for decades. By 2050, it's projected that our global family will have grown to a staggering 10 billion. That's a lot of people sharing one planet. With these startling figures in mind, let's delve into the facts and figures about overpopulation. Overpopulation isn't just about space, it's about resources. The population is growing, but are resources keeping pace? Let's dive deep into some facts about our world and its burgeoning population. The United Nations, in their 2019 report, estimated that our global population is set to reach 9.7 billion by 2050. That's an increase of roughly 2 billion people in just over 30 years. Now let's talk about where all these people are living. Rapid urbanization is a major trend of the 21st century. By 2050, it's expected that 2/3 of the world's population will live in cities. This rapid shift to urban living can put tremendous strain on infrastructure, particularly in developing countries where the majority of this growth is expected. But overpopulation isn't just about the number of people or where they live. It's about the resources we all rely on. Water, for instance, is a finite resource. With population growth and climate change, the World Resources Institute predicts that by 2040, a quarter of the world's population could be living in areas of high water stress. The story is similar when we look at arable land. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, over the past 40 years, nearly 33% of the world's arable land has been lost to erosion or pollution. That's a startling loss of a resource that we can't get back. And then there's the question of energy. Our global energy consumption has more than tripled in the last 50 years, largely due to population growth and industrialization. And despite advances in renewable energy, the majority of this energy still comes from finite fossil fuels. These facts paint a picture of a planet under pressure. Our population is growing, cities are expanding, and our consumption of finite resources is increasing. We're living in a world of limits. But what does this mean for our future? As our numbers increase, so does our impact on the environment and our demand for resources. This, in essence, is the crux of the issue of overpopulation. The more people we have on our planet, the more strain we put on our natural environments and resources. Let's delve into this a bit more. One of the most visible impacts of overpopulation is deforestation. As our populations grow, we need more land for housing, agriculture, and industry. This often leads to the clearing of forests, which not only destroys the habitats of countless species, but also contributes to climate change. Forests are crucial in absorbing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and when they're cut down, that carbon is released back into the air, exacerbating global warming. This brings us to another major issue: loss of biodiversity. As we encroach on natural habitats, we're driving many species to extinction. This isn't just a tragedy in its own right, it also has serious implications for us. Biodiversity plays a crucial role in ecosystem health, and its loss can lead to a cascade of problems, from disease outbreaks to crop failures. Then there's the issue of resource depletion. Our planet has a finite amount of resources, from water to oil to arable land. As our population grows, the demand for these resources increases, often leading to overexploitation. This can result in resource scarcity, with potentially devastating consequences for societies around the world. Finally, there's the problem of waste. More people means more consumption, and more consumption means more waste. This can lead to pollution of our air, water, and soil, further damaging our environment and posing risks to our health. In short, the environmental impacts of overpopulation are vast and interconnected. They're not just problems for us humans, they're problems for all life on Earth. Overpopulation is not just a problem for us, it's a problem for the planet. While overpopulation is a serious issue, it's not all doom and gloom. Some commonly held beliefs about overpopulation are simply myths. One such myth is that we are physically running out of space. This premise is based on the assumption that all individuals require a certain amount of land to survive. However, it's not the physical space that's the issue, it's how we utilize it. The Earth is a vast place, and only a fraction of its land is inhabited by humans. In fact, if you were to distribute the global population evenly across all habitable land, each person would have about 5,000 square feet, roughly the size of a small city lot. This brings us to another myth, that population density equals overpopulation. Yes, some cities are densely packed, but it's not the density that's the problem. it's the lack of resources and infrastructure to support the population. Singapore, for instance, is one of the most densely populated countries in the world, yet it manages to have a high standard of living due to effective resource management and urban planning. Another misconception is that overpopulation leads to more pollution. While it's true that more people can result in more waste, it's not a direct correlation. The issue lies in our consumption habits and waste management practices. For instance, a small population with high consumption rates and poor waste management can create more environmental damage than a larger population with sustainable practices. Finally, there's the belief that overpopulation will lead to food shortages. However, the problem is not the lack of food, but the distribution of it. The world produces enough food to feed everyone, but it's not evenly distributed. Furthermore, a lot of food is wasted due to inefficient supply chains and consumer habits. As we can see, it's not simply a question of space, but of how we use and share that space. The real issues at hand are resource management, consumption habits, and social systems. So, instead of focusing solely on population numbers, let's shift our attention to these more pressing concerns. So, what can we do about overpopulation? Fortunately, there are solutions. Let's begin with education. Education has the power to change the world. It's a key element in tackling overpopulation. When individuals, particularly women, have access to quality education, they can make informed decisions about their lives, including family planning. This leads to smaller, healthier families and slows population growth. Investing in education isn't just about building schools, it's about creating a culture of learning that values knowledge and critical thinking. Next, family planning. It's about giving people the tools and information they need to decide when and how many children they want to have. This means access to contraception, reproductive health services, and comprehensive sex education. When people can make these decisions for themselves, they often choose to have fewer children. This not only slows population growth, but also improves the quality of life for families and communities. Sustainable practices also play a critical role. We need to rethink how we use our resources and strive for sustainability. This could mean adopting renewable energy, reducing waste, and promoting sustainable agriculture. By doing so, we can decrease our impact on the environment and make our planet more resilient to the pressures of a growing population. But these solutions aren't just for governments or big organizations. They're for everyone. Each of us can play a part in addressing overpopulation. We can choose to live sustainably, to support education, and to advocate for family planning. Our individual actions, when multiplied by billions, can make a real difference. Of course, policy changes are crucial too. Governments need to prioritize sustainable practices, education, and family planning. Policies that support these areas can lead to significant strides in managing overpopulation. In conclusion, overpopulation isn't an insurmountable problem. With the right strategies, we can manage our population growth and create a world that is sustainable and equitable. The solutions are within our reach. We just need the will to implement them. By taking action now, we can help ensure a sustainable future for all. Overpopulation is a complex issue with far-reaching implications. We've traversed through the dense jungles of facts and figures, untangling the truth about overpopulation. We've discovered that while the world's population is indeed growing, it's not as simple as running out of room. Our journey took us into the heart of the impact of overpopulation, where we found that it's not just about physical space, but about the strain on our planet's resources. The water we drink, the air we breathe, and the food we eat all come under pressure as our numbers increase. But we also explored the myths surrounding overpopulation, dispelling the notion that we're simply destined to outgrow our planet. We found that with proper planning, resource management, and technological advancements, we can still accommodate our growing population without sacrificing the health of our planet. Finally, we looked at the potential solutions to overpopulation, from promoting family planning and improving education, to investing in renewable resources and sustainable practices. It's clear that addressing overpopulation is not a one-size-fits-all solution, but a mosaic of strategies tailored to different regions and cultures. In conclusion, overpopulation isn't just about counting heads, it's a multifaceted issue that calls for a global response. Only by understanding and addressing overpopulation can we hope to create a sustainable future for our ever-growing human family.